Here we are.
Hold on. There it is.
We sticking with the same theme this time? Good.
It's always going to make me laugh.
Much needed.
Yeah. This was not the game we were hoping for. Not the vibe we were hoping for. But, you know. What do we do?
I just want to soak it all in. Like, I don't want to like interrupt the music.
No, I have nothing to say better than this.
Yeah.
It's very calming. It reminds me I need a massage.
Before I actually moved here up here and all throughout July, when I was traveling back and forth doing like half the time in Philly, half the time in New York, and staying in hotels up here, like 3 different times I went and got a massage. I hadn't had a massage in years. It was amazing. Just saying, it was amazing.
Sounds great.
Yep.
Never had one.
Too expensive, but amazing. I don't want the music to stop. Okay. All right. Are we ready? No. Somebody asked a question in the chat. The answer is no. Come on. A little respect. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. Is brought to you by MortgageCS, the official mortgage broker of the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. Become a MortgageCS Ricky VIP at mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process, and Stateside Urban Craft Vodka. The tasting room for Stateside Vodka is back open Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturdays as well. More at statesidevodka.com. On the show today, boy, probably spend as little time as possible on that game. Sixers just getting all the shitty out versus the Celtics before Harden starts. Ben Simmons talks, James Harden talks, Paul Millsap talks, all on the same day. Without any further ado, Amos and the Chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who did file his opt-in paperwork in time for the 2022-23 season. That is Mike Levin.
Here we go.
Yeah.
What a fun welcome for James Harden's first game on the Sixers sideline.
Yeah.
To be greeted with a process loss.
Just obliterated.
Yeah, right now the game isn't over yet. We started the podcast before it ended, which is rare. It's a 51-point deficit with 2:52 to play, so we'll monitor that. Let you know if anything changes.
Hit a 3, get a stop. Hit a 3, get a stop. Hit a 3.
So
get a stop.
Yeah, I mean Harden. It is clockwork how bad the Sixers play when there's a cool bell ringer. It is every single time. I'll never forgive them for having Triple H come out.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the suck it motion with Joel with the fucking sledgehammer. Coolest thing in the world. And, like, this is who they are. You have to have lame-ass, loser-ass bell ringers forever. Bring in fucking
Here.
Adam Aaron to come ring the bell.
Us.
Bring in Tony DeLeo to ring the bell. Bring in any losers in the area that can come in and like hype up exactly no one. That should be who rings the bell in important games. I mean, this game, look, I said on last podcast, and Alyssa reminded me as I was sitting there just sort of in like a stunned stupor that the regular season, I was like, the regular season doesn't matter. It's fine. We don't care. We are playing Wake Me Up in like late March if everybody's healthy.
They're testing you.
And this was a test. This was a nice test. It was a nice test of that. But yeah, I mean, like, look, James Harden's not playing. I during the first half, I was like, I don't really care. Whatever, they lose this game. Let's see if the Sixers haven't had like a huge comeback win especially against like a pretty good team in a long time. So I was wondering, I was like, are we going to see that happen? We didn't.
No.
They're still losing as of now, still time. But I was like, it doesn't really matter. And then they just kept going down a lot, and then it was pretty frustrating. But this is like, we knew like the team's not good enough with that, and that's why they got James Harden. Like this was the whole
this
impetus.
is the kind of game that Harden changes it completely. The offense, I don't think, has looked this bad the entire season. This might be the worst one.
No, not in a while.
Yeah.
But defensively, they have. I mean, Boston's put up over 30 points in each quarter.
Yep.
They never tightened up. Like
So bad.
they tried zone for a little bit. Jaylen Brown was hitting everything. Some of it was they were hitting everything, but some of it was they were getting wide open looks like very easily. And it's because Boston, and you can say the same thing about Toronto, and probably Miami, has just a bunch of like fast guys who can shoot and move. And the Sixers have a bunch of slow guys who occasionally forget how to shoot and can't move. Like Seth is gone, and that helps the defense, but like, oh my God, Tobias is
all-time Tobias game. All-time Tobias game, honestly, I believe.
Just
All-time
so
Tobias
slow
game.
to everything. To everything, every single thing, so slow to loose balls. If there's a loose ball in front of him, like he seems scared to pick it up. Like he seems scared to go get it. He's so slow to recover. He's late to get back on outlets. He just leaves guys, like he'll leave his man, be like, time for me to double. He won't help on a double team. It's not like a good double. It's not a hard double. It's not an impactful double. It's just like a limp dick double that just makes his guy wide open. It's like he's got Grant Williams on his fantasy team, and he's like, I really need some threes from Grant Williams, so I'm going to just double here, and then you're going to pass it. Like, what is the point? It is bizarre how bad he is at those kinds of things. And he started thinking again today, and he was like a black hole on offense, and was just like not getting anywhere, not beating anybody off the dribble. He took 0 threes in 27 minutes.
Dude, in meaningful games, there's a chance he could not close.
I don't think Doc will do that.
Just all I'm saying is that if they want to win, they did it with Ben last year. Like, if they want to win, and you have Harden on the court, and he's busy creating open shots for people, and that motherfucker gets it and stares it like wide open, 2 feet beyond the 3-point line, and dribbles into a contested 17-footer. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is that there's not many guys to replace him with. Like
Yang shoots.
As of right now, there's
brutal,
just not enough guys who can replace him. Like Danny was in cement defensively. Matisse missed everything badly.
Yeah,
really bad Matisse game. Korkmaz still, I mean, he had 2 threes tonight, but still like looks confused out there and slow. Isaiah Joe's not exactly like popping off the bench. Freaking Paul Millsap, welcome Paul Millsap.
Yeah,
hit 2 threes, looked comfortable doing it. Looked like he hadn't like
fresh legs, bro.
Gotten the disease of Sixers quite yet, where he has to like think about it and panic and, you know, call his like high school gym teacher to be like, am I allowed to do this? Is this how did I used to shoot?
His first action of the season. Fresh legs.
No. He's played this season. He hasn't played in 2022.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, I mean, they tried like that. Oh, Doc went to zone. He's like, maybe that'll do it. They're hitting a ton of shots. Maybe zone will get them more open looks. With our slow ass guys, he went to a centerless lineup to get Tobias going. That didn't help. Even Matisse wasn't on that. I mean, it was like, that was just tough. Yeah, I mean, it's like good for Harden to see the fans boo before he gets in there. just to be like, okay, this is what I'm walking into. This is what happened. Like he won't blame himself yet.
While we're talking about it, I think we have to, if we're mentioning Harden, CJ, do we have an image of Harden's? I mean, I'm no style maven, I guess, but it appeared as if he was wearing like a pink trench coat with the arms cut off over another coat. Did you see this? I mean, it wasn't like a one coat thing he was wearing. It definitely looked like the sleeves were cut off of his jacket. Have you ever seen that before?
Dude, I mean, look, I don't give a shit what he wears. He's here to save us.
It's just it's a wild look. I'm not, I'm fully admitting I'm not up on things. I'm not stylish. But I've never seen the sleeves cut off a jacket over another jacket.
Innovation.
It's like fashion Blade Runner or something. What's going on here?
Yes, I'm glad at least he got to experience some Sixers booze firsthand as a spectator. It would have been pretty cool if he started booing. That would have been a fun look. Would have endeared him to the fans. The crowd seemed like at least fun. They were yelling at the refs for a while. Some horrible calls, whatever. But when Millsap hit his three, it seemed like they went like overly excited, which was fun.
Yep.
I always like that.
I forget who it was that said to me that nobody does, I think it was my friend Lee, nobody does a sarcastic cheer like a Philadelphia crowd.
Yeah, that's right.
You can tell. It's very spot on. And I think
right.
that's what that was. Yeah.
But I mean, they lost by 1,000. Game's over, by the way. They did, in fact, lose. They lost by, let me do some math, 48. So they cut it.
They did hit that three, I was thinking.
They cut the deficit that down there a little bit. Maybe in a couple quarters they'll be back in that. But Embiid didn't look good. Not a good. It was like when Embiid's not the best player in the world, and they don't have Harden, and especially they don't have easy offense with Seth. They're not good. They're not going to be a good team.
What are we going to do here? They got their asses handed to them. And Embiid tried, did the mid second quarter. He was like,
right.
You know what, stuff's not dropping. I'm going to do the foul grifting thing and see if I can keep us in it. He did it for a little while, and then they went on that run to end the second quarter. It was just fucking over there. That was
it's bleak. But I don't love that. Horford looked good against him defensively. I don't love that. Not something I'm excited about, but. I just want Harden to play. I want Harden to play. I want him to be back. It feels like we have a fun treat waiting for us. It doesn't seem like he's going to play on Thursday in Milwaukee.
He's definitely not. He's definitely
but I'm just looking forward to seeing them together. Just a couple Embiid things about the game, and then we can move on from this forever. Although Charlie Brown did score 4 points, so that's pretty exciting.
Real quick before we do that, just to get timing down.
Yeah.
By the way, Embiid, his MVP odds at DraftKings shorten again somehow during this to plus 140. So creeping up on even. And their title odds, Sixers title odds, stay at plus 700. I am working with DraftKings on a Ricky parlay with Embiid MVP, Sixers title, Harden assists, something like that. So that's coming. DraftKings Sportsbook. Now that football's over, concentrate 100% on basketball. Bet $1 on any NBA team. Get $150 in free bets if they win if you're a new customer. $1 on any NBA team. Get $150 in free bets if you're a new customer. And if you don't have DraftKings Sportsbook in your state yet, that is okay. Huge cash prizes on daily fantasy from DraftKings. That's right. Basketball. I haven't done... Oh, you're still in the league. I haven't done it since I left that league. But daily fantasy... Huge cash prizes with DraftKings. Free shot at millions of dollars with your first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code RTRS. Bet $1 on any NBA team and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code RTRS at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Here comes the podcast is now 40% disclaimers. 21 plus, minimum age and location requirements vary by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Void where prohibited. Minimum $5 deposit. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in Tennessee. Call or text the Tennessee Red Line in Connecticut. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. We can do better than that website. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Okay, a couple other Embiid notes, as you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just my concern is that with the Sixers, like I don't care about the regular season. They could have lost by 70. It would have been fun. Look, I love the process. This game doesn't matter. One loss is one loss. Fine. But teams will stretch Embiid out, and they will have sex with him, have success against him. They will have sex with him. And
stretch him out and fuck him.
Stretch him out, and they will have sex with him. And they'll have success against him. Because the Sixers have too many guys who just get beat off the dribble over and over and over again. And so Embiid has to help this way, help that way, everywhere. And then he's just going to be late. I'm moving past having that I said having sex. I'm pushing past it.
I'm
running past it. This is a professional enterprise.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We're adults.
Sorry.
And he's not going to be able to run out 25 feet to contest shooters. And this is just my concern. Like I think he's good enough defensively, and Matisse is good enough defensively, and they won't shoot as well as the Celtics did tonight. But like, there's so many bad defenders on this team. Slow, bad defenders. They can't beat their guy off the dribble, and they can't keep their guy from beating them off the dribble. And so that's my biggest concern with the team. And so I think a stretch five against Embiid is really tough, whether it's Grant Williams or Horford or fucking Luke Cornett, whoever. Honestly, anybody that doesn't stretch, I have tremendous faith in Embiid being better than them and figuring it out and blocking up, Jared Allen, Mitchell Robinson, Robert Williams, whoever, any rim rolling five, it's like fine. But like stretch five is going to make it hard on him. And it's tough. It's tough to see. But he's the man. And even though he still makes like incredibly like brain dead lazy passes sometimes where he's just like misses his mark by like a full 8 feet or something, he's improved so much. I love him, and he's still falling all over the court and getting up, and it's fine. Yeah,
it's Horford's always giving him trouble. The Celtics at their best are pretty good. They've been playing really, really well. What are you going to? Of course, I agree with everything you said, but this was a bad game. It's a bad one to, You
agreed with the sex part too?
Yes, I was looking for like sex music.
No, can't find it. I don't think this is sex music.
You don't think?
No.
Wait, hold on.
Just sort of like twangy guitar. No one's fucking to this. Nobody.
No.
Maybe this is like walking down the street in bell bottoms music, but I don't know who's fucking to this.
Well, Embiid is a tall drink of water,
Sure, it's looking good music, but this isn't Garrett. This isn't genuine adjacent music.
Oh, that's the sex music you want? Little pony. Yeah. Anyway, so this game is, I'm gonna forget about it. The biggest bummer about this game to me is that there is one more game before the All-Star break. If this had been the last game before the All-Star break, I would have been fine with it. But
now they kind of have to beat Milwaukee to be like, or at least make it
play
a game
well
to be like, all right, this not embarrassed. Because this is embarrassing. Like if they lost by like 20, then it's like, whatever. Didn't have it. They were hitting shots. But they lost by 48.
Yeah.
The game was over a couple minutes into the third quarter.
Yep.
Like everybody's feeling good. Press conference was nice, but like I hope that locker room, they're like, what the fuck was that? Like we just can't. This has to be the low point of the season. Like you're embarrassing. Like Tobias is embarrassing the Sixers in front of Harden. Like we have James Harden now. Like pick it up. Like when you invite somebody cool to your party, you can't have like shit ass snacks. Like
Can't be playing bad sex music.
you can't be playing bad sex music at all. You shouldn't. And so this is bad. So like get it together. Like I hope people are gonna get off their jokes because it was a national game and Harden was there and he was wearing a
Anna
funny
Horford's
outfit.
probably fucking tweeting her ass off.
Everybody's
right
doing
now.
it.
Yeah.
So this is like, feel ashamed. These games happen, but they don't have to happen this bad. You could have lost this game by like 18 and it would have been the same difference. But like I hope they feel, everyone should feel guilty and they got to come out and get a win against Milwaukee going to the All-Star break because this is like grow up. Like we have a cool kid hanging out with us now. Like what do we do? Like, come on. You don't invite James Harden over to like play friggin' stupid games.
We don't even have any
You
beer
invite him over to
over
play
here.
like the good games. You're not playing like Madden 09. Like you got the new Madden for Harden. It's like everybody's got to like be on point, and they were really not tonight, and they should all be embarrassed. And Harden should be like, "This isn't what I came here for." So get it together.
What an intro for him. He just fucking tears the locker room apart
He
afterwards.
should.
The Apple Podcast 5-star review brought to you by Stateside Vodka. I'm doing the bourbon tonight, the Black Label Bourbon. The tasting room is open Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, all day. If you bring in a Ben Simmons jersey and trade it in, you'll get a $25 Stateside gift card. They got all kinds of coverage for that. Good on you, Stateside. We're at 3,052 5-star ratings. When we get to 4,000 on Apple, I'll read all of them. Also, Spotify, we're at 430 reviews with a 4.9 average. Anyway, this comes from CC111444. James fucking Harden is the review. Just listen to the Harden trade announcement episode. It was nice hearing Mike sound not completely miserable for once. Pivot right into this one. So there were two press conferences today. Dueling times. It looked like they were both supposed to start at 11:30, but the Sixers one got pushed back to noon, with the Simmons one starting at 11:30. Let's start with the Harden one, then go to the Simmons one.
Sure.
So we'll go through some clips here. I thought both of them were pretty innocuous, both press conferences, but some good quotes on both, some interesting talking points. The first one, to your point, Harden on Sixers fans.
How has that reception made you feel, and how do you feel about playing in front of these fans?
These fans is probably the best fans in the NBA. A lot of teams say that, a lot of organizations say that, a lot of fan bases say that, but like ride or die, like probably the best fans in the NBA. And I'm just happy that they're on my side and I'm not getting booed as the opposing team. But I'm excited, man. Just the love, the atmosphere, just, going into that arena, it's going to be something special.
How has
Not
that
getting
reception made you
booed
feel,
as
and
the opposing team.
That's right.
He knows how that works.
He needed tonight. This was everyone being like, let's show James what it's like. They maybe went a little overboard. But yeah, I mean, look, he's got the Sirianni visor on. He's got the friggin' Cole Hamels jersey. This is the pandering playbook, and he's got to play the hits, and I appreciate him for it.
He has the Foreman Mills T-shirt with the one logo that has the Phillies, the Flyers, the Sixers, and the Eagles all in one shirt, all in one logo. He did. If we ever have him on the pod, he did hedge there. He said probably the best fans in the NBA. That sounds like a guy who didn't officially opt in, honestly. Sounds like a guy who didn't officially opt in. The next one was interesting, is they asked him about, Brooklyn and choosing Philadelphia, and he talked about wanting to come here last year, it being his ultimate choice. CJ.
Why did you want out of Brooklyn, and why did you want Philadelphia to be your destination?
Originally, when I was going through everything I was going through, in Houston, Philly was my first choice. It just didn't happen. So, but just detailed, I don't really want to get into, the Brooklyn situation. I just knew, for a very long time, this is a perfect fit. And obviously you got a big man, the best big man in the league, in Joel. And then obviously the coaching, just from top to bottom, it made sense. And I'm just happy and blessed that I'm here. And as Doc and everybody knows and everybody wants is to win and be the last team standing. So I'm excited for the opportunity.
Why did you
So
want out?
I thought it was interesting that he actually revealed or said that he wanted to come here, that Philly was his first choice last year. I think we talked about that when we were on with Zach Lowe about it being his first choice. I thought it was interesting that he said it out loud.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, who knows what's true and what's
Right.
real. But it felt a little bit when we were saying, over the last year, we've been saying, like, Harden wanted to come to Philly, wanted to play for Daryl, but Houston wouldn't make that trade with Daryl because Tillman, Rockets owner, was too hurt, probably rightfully so, by Daryl being like, I'm retiring to spend more time with my family. I'm going to Philadelphia. Like, it is the quick, brief retirement for Daryl. And so it felt a little bit like we were doing that as like I think he actually wanted to pick Porzingis.
Yes.
And not
that's exactly what I was
type
going to
of
bring
thing.
up. Yeah.
Which I, again, feel is true, and I feel that is true. But you do feel a little bit like, am I just playing like home team ball type of stuff here? But for Harden to say it, it's like, yeah, okay. I do think also the Brooklyn package was better, at least comparable. It wasn't like they traded him for like, mixed nuts.
Well, for a rebuilding team, I think it was better.
Yeah, it depends if they, we've had this conversation 1,000 times. If you want to rebuild around Ben Simmons, then he's probably better than the, 4 or 5 first-round picks, whatever that they got in the teens and 20s. But if you want just like a truckload of picks, that's your choice to make that call. But yeah, it's cool that he wanted to come here. It's very cool, and it's rare. It is never happened before that a player of that magnitude would be like, I want to leave and I want to go to Philadelphia. It just doesn't happen.
Do you think it's a coincidence that he managed to not get here before Tad got here, and after Tad Brown got here, magically James Harden finds his way to Philadelphia? Maybe he was waiting for that final domino to fall.
Could be. Magic Tad.
So then, in true Sirianni fan service, shirt one size too small, Nick Sirianni, true style, he talked about Tyrese Maxey. Everybody's favorite, Tyrese Maxey.
Well, he's had an opportunity this year because of the circumstances, but his confidence is just going off the roof. Like his attack, he's always on attack, and then obviously his three-point shooting is extremely improved. But that right there is overall, entire game is just improved, and I think his aggressive mentality to get to the basket, to knock down the shot when he's open, it explains it all. Obviously then he's surrounded by really good players, and then the MVP of this year to make his job a lot easier. And that's where I'm coming in, to talk to him, to help him as many ways as I can. But he's been doing an unbelievable job, and he's only going to continue to get better. Well, he's had.
So if I had one piece of advice for Tyrese Maxey, it is shoot every time you get it when you're open, when Harden's there. Like, he has to do that. And it's not he's obviously become a much better shooter this year. It seems like a lot. I wonder how many of them are off the catch as opposed to off the dribble. It feels like a lot more off the dribble than off the catch, obviously. But Harden has gotten used to playing with people who will shoot when he passes it to them. And with as much as Maxey has improved, I feel like he's smart enough to do that, even if he's not super confident in it. That is what I really hope, because I think it'll really give that backcourt a chance of truly working if Maxey spots up like he has not yet, but I think he's probably capable of. That's the one thing that I hope happens, because Harden has never been great off ball. And I just don't want to see Maxey standing in the corner just waiting, or rather on the elbow just waiting. So
yeah, I mean, that's the baseline. That's like the baseline of stuff, is that like if you're open and Harden passes you the ball off a pick and roll, like you gotta shoot it.
You gotta shoot. Yeah.
And there's every shooter is streaky, but it seems like especially if you're wearing a Sixers uniform, you're an especially streaky shooter. I don't mind Maxey, attacking closeouts, getting into the rim, and then especially if he attacks a closeout and then Matisse cuts and it's all of a sudden a lob out of that and you get like a dunk out of it, that's nice. I don't mind just Harden is going to create mismatches and put the defense in rotation and make them scramble to cover our guys. We just got to make them pay for it. And the easiest way to make them pay for it is shooting off the catch and hitting shots and making them feel like they have to stay home and not pinch down on Embiid or whatever big man is rolling and to tag him, or just double Harden at the top of the key and try to get the ball out of his hands. You just got to make him pay for that stuff. And my concern with the Sixers is that there's just so many guys in this team, and Maxey's not one of them, that is just both hesitant with the ball in their hands, hesitant passers, hesitant shooters, just so many of those things, and slow to do everything. Seth was obviously one. Tobias is a huge one. Matisse is one just because he's limited offensively. If Danny has the ball anywhere not inside the arc, I'm scared. Danny from 3, catch that, let it fly, baby. But Danny inside the arc, we might be getting a floater. We got a turnaround tonight. What are we doing? It's
love that
just
turnaround.
So there's just too many guys that just are ill-equipped and not athletic enough to just go up. Tobias had, tonight didn't matter, and maybe the game was over at that point anyway. But Tobias had a dunk at the rim.
Man. You gotta
he
let
had a dunk at the
go.
rim. Could have gotten fouled, and he decided to pass it up to.
You gotta let
forget
it go.
who it was from 3. And so it's just the guys just not being able to athletically overwhelm people is frustrating. And the Sixers don't have enough of them. They don't have enough of those guys that can just quickly be how often when you watch Charlotte or even Boston or Toronto and you go holy shit, they just got to dunk so fast. And that just doesn't happen with the Sixers. They just don't get easy dunks, easy looks, easy quick hit aheads. It is so slow all the time. And I'm hoping that Harden, in Brooklyn and a lot of times at the end in Houston also played slow, methodical and ruthlessly efficient and putting his team in the best place to succeed and everything. But it would just be helpful if these guys had some guys that could go. And that's the concern. But yeah.
Speaking of which, Harden did talk about Tobias. We'll talk about that in a second. Our new sponsor, MortgageCS. Love those guys. I talked to Ben, the CEO of MortgageCS, right before the pod today, or right before the game. MortgageCS stands for Concierge Service. Oh, yeah. Go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. First of all, see the amazing Ricky art they put on the page. And then go there, you'll end up being a Ricky VIP. When you go to buy a house, here's one of the, aside from getting a great rate and understanding the process of it, one super important thing about getting a mortgage is you could see a home at 7:00 at night and know you need a pre-qualification letter that night. MortgageCS is dialed in. These are 9 people. It's not a big, huge bank that's shutting down at 5:00. They're always ready for you. So you could text the CEO, Ben, text him, call him right this second at any time, 267-391-7425. They're going to be right there with you. They want to be your partner in this. A lot of the mortgage places you see, whether it's directly to a lender or whether it's a broker, these big, huge companies, or the places online like LendingTree or something that are sending your information out to tons and tons and tons of people. That's not what MortgageCS is about. They're about being your partner on it. Again, go to the website, go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. You'll see the 9 people that work there. That's it. Those are the only people. And they are committed to, and I can just tell, I can tell by how they are and what matters to them, and by some of the Ricky people who have already gone to them, that they are going to be your partner. Go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. They're going to help you learn what APR is, help you finance a new home, refinance, debt consolidation, anything. Call or text anytime, 267-391-7425. You'll get the CEO, Ben. It's not just about getting the best rate. It's about having a partner. MortgageCS.com/Ricky to schedule by phone. As I said, text Ben, 267-391-7425. Mention that you got him from the pod. We've got over 200 5-star reviews on Google, Once again, mortgagecs.com/Ricky. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. MortgageCS is an equal opportunity housing mortgage broker and arranges loans with third-party providers and does not make any mortgage loans commitments or fund any mortgage loans. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions apply. The information is presented for informational purposes by Rates for Us, LLC, DBA MortgageCS. Company NMLS 1464766, licensed by the PA Department of Banking and New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance. Visit mortgagecs.com for more information. Ben Stucker, NMLS ID number 168345. All right. He talked about Tobias. Harden talked about Tobias. And this is what he said.
Kai Carlin over at Sixers Wire. James, we talked about Joel and Tyrese. I'm just curious how you think you're going to be able to fit next to Tobias as well, just a guy, out on the perimeter.
Tobias is a guy that can get you 20 a night, and I feel like it's my job to get that out of him. He's very versatile as well, so just my job is to help be the leader, man, push guys and get that swagger out of guys every single night, because ultimately that's going to help us get to the end goal, and that's to win championship. So we all know how great of a talent Tobias is. But, it's my job to help him with that and from top to bottom.
So, Tobias is a guy who gets you 20 a night, Mike.
Sorry, I was looking at just Josh Harris's lips the whole time. I couldn't stop taking my eyes off that.
Did you see the photos of, there's the photos of Millsap and Harden with Morey, Doc, and Josh Harris. And Morey, Doc, and Josh Harris are all holding basketballs.
Hell yeah. Gotta let people know
So
what sport we're playing. Or in this case, not playing for them.
Not playing. And then finally, before we get to the Simmons presser, this is the one that if things go well, will live on. They asked Harden if he thought the Sixers could win a title this year.
Hell yeah.
Pairing you and Joel, do you see that being possible? I'm sure you see that being possible this year. What will it take to make it happen? Was that a hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
There it is.
There's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, it just doesn't happen overnight. But I think just here being around guys and, they have the right mindset. Obviously, it's coming from the coaching staff. But after the break, man, it's go time. So as much as, I
That's
can
right.
incorporate and
it wasn't
figure things
quite
out fast,
go time when they lost by 50 to the
long,
Celtics at home.
the better things will be. But,
Well,
it shouldn't take long at all.
After the break.
they were taking their direction from their new leader.
That's when it's go time.
Yeah, it's go time afterwards.
Yeah, look, I think the Sixers there's a lot of flaws. But the hope is that James Harden and Joel Embiid are good enough to make up for all those flaws. That's
Fingers crossed.
That's the bet that they're making. If they could have gotten Harden in the offseason, then they would have had time to address the other issues with this roster. Didn't really have time to do it. I don't think a ton of help is going to be coming on the buyout market. It's not like there's people get bought out when they're athletic and can shoot and can play defense and also can dribble a little bit.
Right.
Those guys don't get bought out.
No.
And also they're young and 25. If Paul George got bought out, that'd be great. And it was super healthy, that'd be sick. That'd be perfect for this team. Don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, there's just a lot of flaws on this team outside of the top two players on the roster, and even the new guy.
We need you more excited, man. We can't do the flaws on the team.
No, I'm very excited. It's just that
Okay.
these are two best players, and they're still the issues remain. If one of Embiid or Harden isn't there, the issues will remain.
Yeah,
I was not pumped about this team for the whole season, and now I am because of Harden. But it's still the things that made me not pumped because of the flaws of the other guys. It's yeah, they're still there. And until Harden plays and gets, I'm all about, look, regular season, work out the kinks. Get in there, do your thing, try shit out, all that. But you're keep looking down the bench for a guy who's athletic, who can move quickly and pass the ball a little bit and just get out there. And there's just you keep looking, maybe there's somebody in the stands. Can't find him. Charlie Brown, learn how to shoot. Charlie Brown, learn how to shoot so fast. Sure.
This would be something that you would.
This is more traditional sex song. Yeah, not twangy guitar.
Okay. So at 11:30, for the first time since Game 7 against the Hawks, Ben Simmons spoke as a member of the Brooklyn Nets. My new job, I'm more busy than I was before. So I do not see the internet as much as I used to see it. And sometimes at the end of the day, I'll look at the internet and I'll be like, wow, what happened here? And that was one of today's. The internet just had an enormous time fighting with itself over whether Ben Simmons has a mental issue or not. And it just devolved in just the most pedantic, ridiculous discussion of it. So I truly don't even want to have that part of the conversation anymore. I don't need, God bless Pablo Torre. I don't need anybody's finger wagging at anyone. I don't need to guess that he doesn't or he does or anything like that. So
yeah, it's kind of the place we've talked about so much, and it doesn't make anybody look good talking about it. I pretty much just, if anybody said any opinion, I would pretty much disagree with
wrong.
it.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, I don't know. Like, it is on the one hand very clear that they were using this as a contractual ploy to get him paid. Like,
yes,
it came out that way. Does that mean that he can't have some wellness issue with his, as far as like his mental well-being? Absolutely not. Well, and like, if he came, but he's not coming out there saying he is. He's not saying like, here's, being vulnerable about it. He never was. It was just like, whatever, leave him alone. It's like, okay, fine. Like, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't, at this point, it doesn't matter at all.
So if people want to dislike him because of how he treated the team and how he handled this, you're more than welcome to. If you're sympathetic to him because it sucks to go through it, then that's fine. I don't think anybody needs to finger wag at anybody. It's funny. Pablo said something on Around the Horn. He was like, he gave up $20 million. Isn't that enough evidence that, he clearly has something going on? And it's like, could you imagine him arguing a murder case and go, this guy's obviously insane. He killed another person. Who would do that without being insane? It's like making bad decisions is not evidence of having whatever. So they asked him why I actually thought overall, he didn't say much of anything, even though he talked a bunch. I thought his tone overall seemed more calm and less aloof than he normally seems. I think he probably feels welcome and less intimidated there than he did toward the end there. But I thought overall his approach didn't feel the way that it normally did. So they asked him about why he wanted to leave. And this is why he wanted to leave Philadelphia. This is what he said.
I don't think it was really that. It was more so just it was just piled up, a bunch of things that have gone on over the years to where I just knew I wasn't myself, and I needed to get back into that place of being myself and being happy as a person, and taking care of my well-being. And that was that was the major thing for me. It wasn't about the basketball, it wasn't about the money, anything like that. I want to be who I am and get back to playing basketball at that level and being myself.
And the last game?
Last game? What's
just kind of what was going on through your mind after the last game?
I need to get in a good place mentally, honestly. That was the main thing. I don't think it was.
Yeah, so, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with any of that. Like that's totally fine. He didn't like the way that NBA contracts work is like you could feel that way and still be like, all right, I'll play and like ask for whatever. But he opted for the extreme resolution of that, which is I'm just not showing up and not going to talk to my teammates really, and not going to and just leave my drive. It's like there's ways to handle it. He could feel all those things and have handled it better. Well,
he handled it as basically as bad as you can. And to be fair, it's not like James Harden was handling it particularly well in Brooklyn either. But
that's why it's like I think both guys are in better situations. I think both teams will be better off with these players, and I think it's fine to be like cool. I'm glad this is the last time we can do until March 10th, which will be fun and
he's not going to play.
It's fun to hate teams and hate guys on teams as in a fun sport. That's half the fun of sports is rivalries and shit. And there aren't a ton of them in the NBA. So this will like it gives juice to everybody, but like go fucking do your thing in Brooklyn, whatever, man. Go be athletic Draymond. Like you look at clips from him from Summer League, from his first fucking Summer League, and it's like that's a different player. Like for whatever reason, he stopped
5 years ago.
I know for whatever reason he stopped
Yeah.
being that guy in his rookie year in the Miami series when Joel wasn't there. Like that's a different player. He's not that guy on offense anymore.
Well,
and if he can get back to that, then like good for him for like finding a new change of pace and like a new location where he can figure out what the fuck happened, because what happened to him happened to a lot of other fucking Sixers. I don't think the thing that bums me out, like everyone's gonna have the argument about like people like being hypocrites, and like people made so many jokes. ESPN, whoever made so many jokes inside the NBA about Simmons not shooting and being scared to shoot and all that stuff. Everybody was doing it, and now being like, actually, this is a moral stand that they're taking. It's like whatever, man. But like, I lost it. I was really winding up for a good landing there. Such a solid landing. It was just everyone act like I nailed it. Like I found such a poignant way to finish that thought, and what a poignant way it was.
Yeah,
good job,
yeah.
Mike.
Well, the only thing I would say to him not being that guy is I think some of what happened was, and this is what happens in every sport to great players, is what happens to football against systems, is the league.
I found it.
The league adjusts to you, and then you have to learn a new thing and adjust back.
Sure.
And he never did. And I don't think it was just quite as simple as him deciding to be what he was. I think like when the game started to matter, and what became even more confusing to him is that there's so many regular season games that don't matter when teams that aren't trying that hard or teams that aren't that good, that there's enough of those games where he can do those things where it sort of convinces him that he doesn't need to get better at those things. So I think part of it is the league adjusted to him, and he never figured that out.
Yeah, I think it's part of it. Yeah. I think other times he also did decide to do fewer things, try fewer things. Like it feels like watching grainy footage from a different planet, but you look at that first, years at LSU or in that first summer league or in his rookie year, and you're like, who is this guy? Where was he? Where did he go? The poignant way I was ending the other one is like every time there's any issue in Philadelphia in any sport, there are people out there that are just going to fucking blame the fans.
Yeah.
Like over and over again with Markelle Fultz, they blame the fans, even though we practically nursed him from our teat. From fucking Wentz blaming us after like he just held onto the ball too long, got sacked and fumbled it a ton of times. And then you saw that in Indianapolis, even though he made a bunch of good plays. And then with Ben, it's like the same thing. Like the fan base was begging him to shoot. They were begging him to like feel confident at the line. They were encouraging him to confidence at the line, even in the like over and over again. And yeah, are there like a couple assholes that like took it too far? Of course, but like that's
There's
everything.
always
And
a
it's just
couple assholes.
that's every fan base. It's everything. But it just feels like, especially in Philadelphia and no other place. Yes, we get credit for being like a passionate fan base, and other people get shit on as being like nobody cares, nobody's there, whatever. But like we also get the bad parts of like, oh, this is why it didn't work out, because the fans were so horrible to him. It's just like that just wasn't the case with all three of those guys. That was not the case. It was supportive, even after all their bullshit. And eventually, like, yeah, time to move on, because we're not like, I mean, we are pathetic, but we're not pathetic in that particular way. Like, you got to move on. Like, what are we supposed to do? It's very frustrating.
Yeah, that
obvious.
part of it is so boring.
Yeah.
It's just so boring. But we, like a bunch of fucking idiots, we react to it every
Yeah, you
time.
take the bait, of course.
Yeah. Kornblau and Kornblau is the official law firm of the process. Maybe we should sue the national media. Class action lawsuit. Suing the national media for slander. How about that?
But it's not just national media. I think it's like local media is everywhere. I think it's everyone. I think it's
Yes.
it's just like easy people like
Let's
just
sue
being like,
everyone. More
yeah,
people
we'll sue 'em
to
all.
sue.
Good.
More people to sue. Fucking assholes. Kornblau and Kornblau is the official law firm of the process. Personal injury is their specialty. Over 40 years. Personal hand-holding service, if you're comfortable with hand-holding. Adam Kornblau is one of the Kornblaus. His mom's the other Kornblau, started by his parents, getting the best, some of the best medical malpractice results in southeastern PA. And they are the premier boutique personal injury law firm, because when you call them, they are the ones taking care of you. It's not a referral service. It's not some big switchboard where they're shipping you off to somebody else. They are taking care of you. They're taking care of so many of our listeners, both for personal injury, but for other things. They're willing to give legal advice. Adam is, to just about anybody who reaches out to him. Just fucking hassle him. Hassle Adam Kornblau. Any sort of personal injury, medical malpractice, injured at work, slip and fall, car accidents, anything. If you think you are injured, do not try to be a hero. Don't shrug it off. If it's somebody else's fault, Kornblau will take care of it. These things take a long time. That's not to discourage you. It's to tell you want somebody who has it, who's committed. That is Kornblau, Kornblau. Call him or email him. Doesn't cost you anything. 215, until, of course, he gets you a bunch of money. 215-576-7200 to ask for Adam, or email kornblau@kornblau.com. Kornblau, spelled with a K. The "and" is spelled out in that email address. And the rest,
it's up to you.
There it is. Okay. Finally, I don't think we need to play it. They asked him if he's going to play on March 10th. He said, I hope so. I don't think he's going to play on March 10th. And that, do you?
No idea.
I'm going. The first game after the All-Star break is for the Nets is next Thursday against the Celtics, and I'm going to that game. My first Nets game of the season. It would be interesting if he played, though I don't think he's going to. And then he said he has not talked to Embiid since the trade. They asked him. Not surprising at all. So
yeah, I mean, it's a bummer that they're, for the first, there's been a bunch of great articles after the trade, and some TikToks of what happened, how we got there. It is just upsetting from on a human level to be like, these two guys in the process, they're two unique basketball players that we were so excited about, like pairing together and defensively wreaking havoc on people, and not a poor fit, but like not a perfect fit complementary wise on a personal level for years. Brett Brown tries to get them together, being like, it's going to be you guys are the people that matter. It takes them some years to grow up, obviously, because they're young, and that happens. And now they're, making a ton of money, and Embiid had a bunch of tragedy, and then Simmons had some. And so it's like, and then last year, after the bubble, it's like, they're on the same page. You can see them playing off each other better. You can see them enjoying each other more. You can see them like making an effort with each other to be like, it's going to be us. We're the last people standing here. And they ride that to the 1 seed, and it all just falls apart. And it's just a bummer that like they got to a place where they were on each other's side more, and for now that to be all gone. I think it's almost entirely Simmons' fault, but it's just a bummer to see. Like, it would have been cool if this had worked out.
Yes, I agree with you. Like, as cool as it is to go trade for a star, there's no doubt that growing them yourself is more cool.
Mm-hmm.
There just is. Like, you have more of a connection. Like, it's cool that Harden's here. I will cheer for Harden. I'm excited that he's here. But there's no way that your connection with a player is going to be as good instantly as if there's somebody that was there when you drafted them, and then you see them get better, and they're there, and you can see them, go through this, that, or the other thing. It's like, it's cool. It would have been really neat if it happened.
For sure. Just a different feeling. Getting Harden now feels like, again, you're at a party with the cool kids, and like fucking tonight Tobias brought, the worst baked Lays. Like, grow up, Tobias. Get some legitimate snacks. We have important company over.
If you were going to a party and you had to bring one snack, what would that snack be? What kind of party?
Is it like a nighttime party or like a daytime watching an event type party? Keeping in mind that events
nighttime watching a big boxing match, as if you would. I don't think you would do that, but that's the kind of party. Why Watching a game.
I would bring like I mean, I guess this isn't a snack, but I was going to say like an assorted number of wings, like different various flavors of wings, where I try to be mindful of everybody's.
It's definitely not a snack, though.
It's definitely not a snack for sure. Let's see. You can't go wrong with a dip.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to beat a dip.
What about the Gardetto snack mix with the rye chips in it?
Never had it.
Oh, come on.
But yeah, you got to whatever is your snack. I think really I think being a writer on other people's shows really teaches you to like knowing your audience, right? And so like the person that I am on this podcast is not who I am. I guess maybe it's blending more to it is, but who I am in like a writer's room. Mm-hmm. And so if I go to one party, if I'm going to a boxing night party, that I got to figure out who I am and who I'm going with and why I'm going, and then I will adjust my snack-based pick on that.
The hard to stomach YouTube comment of the week comes from Loadmeister. He says, Mike's reaction to the music has me dying.
Okay.
He was talking about the flute music from the filter in last time.
Mm-hmm.
The mailbag, writesrickysanchez@gmail.com. writesrickysanchez@gmail.com. Send us a basketball and a non-basketball question. This comes from Andrew. Hi, Spike and Mike. This is a follow-up to Spike's comment on the last pod regarding Doc's standing with the team if the Sixers don't make the finals. As a reminder, I said that I thought he would be gone. If the Sixers do end up winning the championship this season, how much credit will Doc Rivers get? First, how much credit do you think he will deserve? And second, how much will he be given by the media and history? Will the context of the playoffs matter, or do we think that he will largely be forgotten? If you feel like expanding, will this retroactively validate his top 15 coach selection?
You know, it's that, first of all, the Sixers pushed back on the idea that D'Antoni was in the wings. A bunch of people,
it's weird.
A bunch of the beat reporters, Newbeck and whoever, all said like Sixers strongly deny anything they're happy with Doc, whatever. It is tough to judge Doc because Embiid has had the two best seasons of his career under Doc Rivers, right? Factual stuff. The stuff that Doc does that we see and can criticize are his lack of adjustments in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. When things aren't working anymore, and his stubbornness to play all bench lineups and limit staggering or staggering the wrong guy, like Tobias running with the second unit when it should pretty clearly be Maxey at this point. But we don't, and he says like we don't practice until like the playoffs, and so it's like, well, what are we doing? What are we doing? If there's not going to be a practice, if there's not going to be like, nimble rotations and nimble adjustments in the playoffs, like what is it that Doc is doing? And it's like, honestly, like for the most part, we don't know. For the most part, we don't know what coaches do, what environment that a coach creates to cultivate like players succeeding and winning. But like you take a step back and you go like, Sixers were the 1 seed last year before they melted down in the Hawks series, which Doc his teams have definitely done several times before, more than any other coach. But he's also gotten there more than any other coach. And now they've stayed above water in this fucked up season because Doc has found a way in some way, whether it's how much of credit he deserves to get, but like Embiid is fucking the MVP. And how much of that is Doc putting him in places for them to succeed?
Can I be devil's advocate here? I don't think anybody thinks Billy Donovan is some sort of like master coach or anything. And DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine are both having the best seasons of their career under Billy Donovan. And I don't think you can separate them completely, but Joel Embiid is in his prime years. And I'm not saying Doc doesn't have anything to do with it, right? But I continue to think that coaches barely matter unless they're horrible or amazing. I don't think Doc is horrible or amazing, and I think that chances are Embiid would have done this no matter what, just like Zach LaVine would have done that no matter what, and DeMar DeRozan would have done that no matter what. I mean, for sure, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree that there's like the 5 worst coaches, there's the 5 best coaches, and then there's 20 in the middle that are like all interchangeable, basically. But people keep wanting to play for Doc.
Like Harden has talked about wanting to play. Like that was part of the reason he wanted to come here. And so, I mean, I think a lot of the stuff Doc does is stupid, but like if he was even 1% instrumental in getting James Harden to Philadelphia, then and getting Joel Embiid an MVP trophy this year, then like, hell yeah.
Sure. By the way, if he wins a championship with Embiid, who people said would never play a full season, James Harden, who has famously melted down in the playoffs, and like George Niang is their fourth best player, I think Doc will get plenty of credit. This won't be like...
deservedly so.
Yes. I think he would deserve credit at that point. You certainly couldn't say they did it independently of him.
No,
it's not,
and it's a very tough Eastern Conference this year. So if they make it through, they're going to have, if they get there, they're going to have almost certainly going to have three very tough matchups.
Sure. For my non-basketball question, what is your opinion on Super Bowl commercials? I distinctly remember finding them funny growing up, but now I'm wondering if they ever really were. It feels like every year they've been mostly a letdown for a long time.
They are. They suck. They're stupid.
I didn't see any of them this year. I don't know any of the robot dog. I saw the robot dog.
Guys, commercials are inherently bad. You don't,
except for
ours.
Yeah.
But like when you're watching TV and you're like, oh, like, I don't know. I get why if you're not a sports fan, you're like, cool, fun commercials that they spend a bunch of money on. Maybe there's something like a wow factor. But like, I don't know, they spend a bunch of money on movies or like a sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people that are making commercials to sell you something are not like funnier or more creative or more interesting than the people that are just like trying to make a good piece of like art or film or comedy or whatever the fuck. Like that they're not going into, if they were really that funny, they wouldn't be in fucking commercials. It's a backup.
Wow, shots fired.
It is. It's a backup. It's a backup. I've written for commercials, but it's a backup.
This comes from Luke. I'm skipping non-basketball because his basketball question was basically, are we going to look like jerks when Ben Simmons plays in Philadelphia? And the answer is yes. I'm sorry. Non-basketball question. What are your opinions on Valentine's Day? I'm not sure if I think it's a cute, fun holiday about celebrating love or if I think it's a ploy to make people spend lots of money on their significant other each year.
I think it's both.
Yeah, it's both. There's nothing wrong with guilting you into spending money and time on your significant other. People that are like, oh, it's just like a holiday, commercial holiday. All holidays are commercial. If they sell a card for it, even Christmas and all of everything is Easter. Everything's commercial. There are worse holidays than saying you should tell the person that you love them extra that day. It's just not a bad thing. It's like a birthday for love. All right. This comes from Eli. I love this one. Hey, guys, is it possible that Daryl's inclusion of Andre Drummond in the Harden trade was sort of a I traded Pena, so you have to start Hattenberg at first base move? B-Ball Paul has shown promise in its limited run and theoretically fits well with the switch everything defense Harden prefers to play in. If we hadn't included him in the deal, I feel pretty strongly Doc would have kept Drummond as Embiid's primary backup, and then he would have been exposed in the playoffs. I love this theory.
No, I think that Daryl also thinks that Drummond is good. Not great, not give more than the minimum to, but I think this was you had to trade, like it cost. This is the cost of a Harden trade and the cost of keeping Matisse and Maxey.
I like the idea though.
It's a fun idea, but if like B-Ball Paul and Paul Millsap and Charles Bassey like are such like three guys who are like 75% of what you need to back up Embiid. I think one of B-Ball Paul or Bassey should be the long-term, like they need to like have an answer next season. And it's like, okay, it's this guy, like we got him. And then just like lock it in for a few years. It'd be just nice to have some stability back there. Because there's never been a guy from year to year that was the same. Amir Johnson, and that like sucked. Obviously the second year he was here, he was awful.
It's not really a Daryl thing, though, to go spend.
I'm not saying spend, but on these guys' rookie deals. That's the thing. Like you have B-Ball Paul and Charles Bassey with like partial guarantees on their contract, and so it's like if you can have them serviceable, I think they're both here. I think it is not a coincidence that both of those guys, even though they're in their Bassey's a rookie and Paul Reed's in his second year, I don't think it's a coincidence that both of those guys are older. I think he wanted some just like, we're not trying to like, they're not developmental prospects. You don't need one behind Embiid. You just need a guy who can like be fine. Like come in there, be fine. And they're not quite there yet, but I again think it's worth trying this year. But I love, look, any Scott Hatterberg reference on the podcast is very welcome by me.
And then non-basketball question. I recently watched The Big Lebowski after having not seen it for a while. I noticed Larry Sweetie the Man is here, and I'm going to fucking kill you from the intro outro music. A, did you guys recognize those lines from the movie when you first heard the music from Amos? And B, which process Sixer most embodies the dude? I did not recognize it. I've tried to watch The Big Lebowski 3 times, and I've fallen asleep each time. So I didn't recognize it, but I know it because Amos told me. You? Did you recognize it?
I don't remember. I think I might have. I think so. Which process Sixer? I mean, like, you could see Embiid getting there if he had a couple like years in the wilderness.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that sort of like doesn't give a fuck confidence.
No, not at all. But like you also have to have a level of intelligence to, or at least maybe Tobias if he's like stranded at sea. But I guess he's
Jared Bayless.
Could be Andrew Bynum. There's got to be a little like galaxy brain level.
Yeah, it can't be Tobias. Nobody that carries a book to work that much is carefree. He wants people to see him with the book, even though I'm sure he's reading. A process Sixer. I can't think of it. I'd like to really give that a thought. Anyway, we will be back with one more pod before the All-Star break, a surprise special guest pod coming up very soon. Within the next 48 hours, we have a surprise special guest pod, and then All-Star break, and then the second half of the season with James Harden. And I invited Amos on after the All-Star break. We haven't, I don't know when yet, but we haven't had our friend Tony T on in so long, and he has a new album out. So, and he's out in LA.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. We will we'll talk to you very, very soon. This game tonight, it didn't happen, regardless of what Mike's reaction is. It didn't happen. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah. You? No. Thick face.